Recently from The Hollywood Reporter, quote, "On Wednesday night, you could actually watch advance purchase sales declining in real time as buyers were refunding their tickets. It really says something when you'd rather have Shazam 2 numbers." Well, the numbers are in for Madam Web, and they are not good. The film pulled in $52 million for its opening weekend, with just $26.2 million from domestic box offices. Yeah, that's bad. So bad that, quote, "The critics' reviews for Madam Web were posted, and they stung deepest of all. Sony's Spider-Man spinoff received the lowest average Rotten Tomatoes score, 13%, of any major superhero film in nearly a decade. And that, quote, even the family-friendly cinema score grade was poor, C+, extremely low for a superhero title. But the one that really hurts is this. Quote, "On Wednesday night, you could actually watch advance purchases sales declining in real time as buyers were refunding their tickets," marvels a major theatrical chain executive. "It really says something when you'd rather have Shazam 2 numbers." I'm 41 years old. I've never heard of that before. That's new and that's bad. It's so bad that one industry vet told Hollywood Reporter, quote, "We're not going to see another Madam Web movie for another decade plus." I mean, that's probably not true, but Sony's idea of turning Madam Web into a franchise is done. They're not doing a sequel for this anytime soon. Now, I haven't seen the movie, so I can't comment on whether it's good or bad. That said, I can ask a basic question. Why did this fail? The article points out that there's been some superhero fatigue. Most of the superhero movies from 2023, and really since the summer of 2022, have underperformed. The Marvel movies tanking was a different thing because most of the previous movies made crazy money. However, the last two phases didn't fare as well, with the Marvels barely pulling in $206 million. That movie may hint at the issue. From The Hollywood Reporter, quote, "When there are capes and cowls on every metropolis corner, doesn't it make sense to avoid the usual tropes and try for a more grounded suspense thriller with low-key charm? And moreover, make a superhero movie for women and young girls? No, and here's why. Quote, "I don't know if women are enough to carry the box office here," one veteran studio source outside of Sony says. Indeed, males make up 65% to 70% of the superhero audience in North America. In the case of Madam Web, the percentage of female viewers was still only 46%. It makes zero sense to try to refresh a franchise by thumbing your nose at the people who actually watch the movies. This would be like turning slasher films into rom-coms. What are you doing? These are two different audiences. It's possible that this could work, but it's more likely that it's not going to appeal to either group. Actually, it's worse than that, because it kind of talks down to women who like superheroes. These women and girls read the books, play the games, watch the movies. They became fans based on what they already encountered, so your brilliant move is to get rid of the very things they like and try to girl it up? I can't think of a worse way of approaching this. It's so disrespectful to female fans to talk down to them like that. Do they think that women only like something if female characters fit certain tropes? That's a rhetorical question. I know the answer is yes. This is probably what killed the Marvels too, setting aside that people didn't connect with the characters. The tone of the trailers made it look wildly different from most of the MCU films. The MCU has a lot of humor in it, but most of the movies don't have the same tongue-in-cheek tone of the Marvels. It's almost like some of the people making these films don't realize that fans like these movies unironically. They're not rolling their eyes thinking that the films are silly. They know that what they're seeing on screen is ridiculous, but they still want it to be treated seriously. Again, I haven't seen the movie, so I could be mistaken about the tone, but the impression that I got about Madam Web based on the reviews is that it's got a campy tone. That's probably not going to go over well with the hardcore superhero fans. I also think Sony miscalculated with the Spider-Man spinoffs. Venom is a popular character, so his films can stand alone, even if it would be better if they were connected with Spider-Man. But trying to spin off the other characters without tying them to Peter first seems like a bad idea. Morbius bombed. The response to the Kraven trailer was lukewarm. Madam Web got the same response, and we see how that's turned out. Part of the appeal of these characters is their interaction with Spider-Man. I don't think much of his cast can hold a movie on their own. That said, I wonder if Madam Web might have worked better if they didn't cram every Spider-Woman into the movie. I know there's enough space on that web for all of them, but maybe they should have started with one. Introduce Madam Web, connect her to Peter, maybe the broader MCU, use her as another link to bring in the mutants, since she's a mutant, and call it a day. It looks like the studio did the opposite. that they decided to rush things to build a franchise instead of trying to connect with an audience. Sony, please, take a breath, slow down. Disney's gonna buy you sooner or later anyway, so you might as well take your time. Speaking of time, the article ends with this claim that Madame Web might wind up a camp classic, that over time people might find it fun bad. I don't know about that. That happens pretty fast now. It used to take years for bad movies to grow on people. Now it takes weeks. Opening weekend is more than enough time for people to get out there and tell everyone that this is a movie that's so bad you gotta see it. Except, I don't see anyone saying that. But what do I know? I'm just some guy.